2017 is coming to a close. What's good, Internet? My name is Attack Slug, and this is the first of several Game of the Year videos for 2017, quite possibly one of the best years in video games in quite some time. And this video, to start us off, is for digital-only games. Download games. Games that you cannot go into a store and buy. If it didn't come out on a disc, then it's going to be on this list. And we kick things off with Danger Zone. Yeah! From Three Fields Entertainment, a spiritual successor to the Crash Mode modes of the Burnout franchise, while not being an actual Burnout game. And as someone who has a deep-seated love of those Crash modes, this kind of scratches that itch. It doesn't get all the way there, but I am a purist who absolutely loved the Burnout 2 Crash mode. I understand Burnout 3, which is kind of what this game is modeled after, is more widely known because Burnout 3 sold a lot more copies than Burnout 2, but personally, Burnout 2 for me is that sweet spot. This doesn't quite get there, but they have supported it a lot past the release. They've added more cars, they've added more tracks, and the core gameplay is still fantastic and worth playing. And I'm just hoping it sells well enough that they can actually fully fund a proper Burnout spiritual successor, because we all know EA ain't doing much with the Burnout franchise. So even though I have some issues with the game here and there at a core level, there still isn't anything quite like it. So if you don't know, if you never played any of the old Burnout games, if you never played any of the Crash modes, number one, go get those and go play those. But number two, pick up Danger Zone. It's pretty good. I am overburdened, kind of explains my entire life. But also, it is a quaint little roguelike, on the PC. And this game kind of knows exactly what it wants to be and does not aspire to be anything larger than what it already is. And what it is a nice 5 to 7 minute, usually for me, run in a roguelike. It is a nice bite-sized roguelike. It's the kind of game where if you aren't familiar with the genre, you can kind of get your feet wet and understand exactly why this kind of game, this kind of genre is so compelling and rewarding and extraordinarily difficult. Because even though those runs average between like 8 and 15 minutes for a run, I've put in like 7 hours and I haven't beaten it yet. But it is the perfect game to go kind of in between runs from other games, or when you're waiting for a video to render, or when you have just a little bit of time to kill, or you have some podcasts to listen to. Just put it on, have some runs, it's a great time. But speaking of games that kind of have one solid core concept and totally nail that concept, we have Mr. Shifty. That kind of came out on everything this year. And basically, you are a shifty individual that can do kind of the Nightcrawler Banff thing and punch dudes, and it works really well. They've taken that core warping around mechanic, kind of combined it with a top-down overhead Hotline Miami type vibe, and really kind of nail what they were going for here. Most importantly, it does not overstay its welcome. It's a couple hours long, it's a pretty cheap downloadable, and it comes highly recommended. So I don't know what's going to be next for Team Shifty, but sign me up. I'll be there. Now, you guys know I play a lot of roguelikes and a lot of roguelites, and a lot of them I'll play for a little bit and they'll kind of fall by the wayside, or they'll kind of do a thing that a lot of other games are already doing. But Streets of Rogue definitely hit me pretty hard this year in that it does not go the same route as a lot of other games that look like this do. Which is to say, you can use other options instead of just straight combat. You can use stealth, you can use espionage, you can sneak around, you can use a wider variety of skills to complete your missions in this world. So if you were going to combine a game like Deus Ex and say a game like Binding of Isaac, you might get Streets of Rogue. So having those variety of options, but also when things invariably go wrong, being able to say, you know what, I'm just going to punch you or shoot you or do a thing is fantastic. Add that to the fact that you have a number of different characters who all support a number of different playstyles, and being able to unlock new traits, being able to unlock new varieties of ways to play, plus co-op, it's just pretty much the total package in terms of what you would want for this kind of game. But speaking of top-down, dual joystick, overhead, roguelike shooters, we have Monolith, a game that kind of also hit me out of nowhere. I hadn't even heard of it. They sent me a key for it. I played it. It's amazing. It is mashing up that Binding of Isaac style roguelite with shmups. And as someone who likes both of those things, even if I'm not that great at both those things, it's fantastic. Most importantly, it feels good to play. I've played a lot of these kind of games that, while I'm definitely interested in the core gameplay mechanics, the movement sometimes doesn't feel great. This game nails the movement, it nails just the ease of use, and even if you aren't great at these two genres, you can still have a lot of fun. The learning curve is just smooth enough, because I know a lot of roguelikes have a really steep learning curve. The learning curve here is just smooth enough that it kind of eases you in and then ramps up, and then all of a sudden you're getting better and better while there are 8 million bullets flying at your face. It's one of those games I feel like in a year of amazing games might get overlooked at the end of the year. And I'm like, look, Monolith is great. You should definitely go play it if you are at all interested in either of the genres the game is mashing up. It's time to say goodbye. Bye-bye Boxboy, the third and perhaps final entry in the Boxboy franchise. And I know you're saying, hey, this game got a physical release in Japan with the other two Boxboy games. That doesn't count for this show. If I can't go to a store in the US and buy it, that doesn't count. But Boxboy continues to be fantastic. It continues to break my brain in new ways. And if you haven't played any of them, definitely get that first one. It's pretty cheap now. Pick it up and enjoy. It's great stuff from HAL Laboratories. I have heard some rumblings that there may be some more Boxboy coming in the future. Perhaps a Switch release. Perhaps, some other type of mobile thing. Who knows? But all I do know is the Boxboy trilogy of games is some of the best puzzle games on 3DS, period. Whatever this team does next, I will be there day one. Hum hum, hum hum, it's Onion time! Million Onion Hotel, the only mobile game on this list, and don't get scared, it is $4. You get the whole game. There's no in-app purchases, there's no loot boxes, none of that crap. This is, you buy it once, it's yours forever, and it is so delightfully weird from the same folks who brought you games like Tulip and Little King Story and No More Heroes and Rule of Rose, games I loved a whole lot back when those came out. This is those guys making a brand new bit of weirdness. I don't play a lot of mobile games, and I certainly don't buy a lot of mobile games, but this one is 110% worth experiencing. If your phone can run it, go out right now and get Million Onion Hotel. And if you don't understand what it is, 1, that's okay. 2, I have a video explaining some of the mechanics in that game. Very rarely do I recommend any mobile games, but this one is absolutely, positively worth playing. Thumbs all the way up. I'm hoping it made the money. I'm hoping they make more weird games, console, mobile, I don't care. Just give me more Onion games, please, hum hum. If there's one wrestling game that I can recommend to you this year, it is Fire Pro Wrestling World, the return of the Fire Pro series after a 10-year absence. It's back. It's on the PC. At some point next year, it'll be on the PS4, I'm pretty sure. And if the 2K games are too broken for you, and the Wrestling Revolution games are too janky for you, then Fire Pro Wrestling World is what you need, baby! I know it's been hard times for wrestling game fans lately, but this one is amazing. And I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, oh, it doesn't have the official WWE license, and it looks like an old video game, and it's not modern. That doesn't matter. The game is fun, and the community has created thousands upon thousands of characters. Every wrestler under the sun, cartoon characters, TV stars, video game things. It's all in there, with Steam Workshop support, and that stuff is free. The game just hit 1.0 release. It's only gonna get better with more DLC in the pipeline. If you're gonna buy one wrestling game this year, if there's one game you need as a wrestling fan, it is Fire Pro Wrestling World. There is one last roguelite on this list, and it is a mashup I didn't anticipate actually enjoying. And that is Dead Cells. Basically saying, hey, what if Metroidvania, if you will, was a roguelite? And I'm like, well, it would have to control really well. And it does. It would have to be really engaging. And it is. It would have to nail every facet of both those genres, and it does. Even when you're having a bad run, even when you're playing really poorly, it is still fun to play, and when you get better at it, it is super rewarding. It's the kind of game I really hope gets a console release, because I think a lot more folks need to be exposed to it and play it. It is just that good. So of the dozen or so roguelikes that I got into this year, Dead Cells certainly stands head and shoulders on the top of that list. It is just that freaking good. Oh, Battlegrounds. You knew it was coming. It had to be on this list somewhere. And Battlegrounds comes in at number 1 on my digital-only games. I know. Oh, the Xbox version, you can buy it in a store. Yeah, it's a download code in a cardboard box. That's not a physical release. Battlegrounds, which has sold like 25 million units on PC, has been a phenomenon this year. And as someone who generally A, doesn't care about multiplayer, and B, definitely does not care about online-only multiplayer, Battlegrounds is amazing. And when I sit and think about it, and why it just appeals to me specifically in that way, it does have those roguelike elements, where it is permadeath. You get one run. Those runs are about a half an hour. The item placement is all random, but like most roguelikes, once you know what you're doing, you can get better. You can last longer, or you can hide in the bathtub and hope for the best. So I don't know where things go from here, right? The game just hit 1.0, and obviously, being such a phenomenon, there are so many other games copying it, copying the mode, copying something similar to Battlegrounds, but can they match up to the juggernaut that is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds? And as I record this video, I have not gotten my own chicken dinner, so I'm still trying. I'm still trying to get there. I'm not that good, but when you're having so much fun, it kind of doesn't really matter. This is the only game this year that legit would stress me out. When you're in that like final 5 and the circle's getting real tiny and you're just sweat's pouring down and you just want to get that chicken dinner so bad. And I came so close at number 2, but I haven't quite sealed the deal just yet. And hey, the game is still in active development, right? So perhaps at some point, as an online-only multiplayer game, they'll ruin it. But for 2017, it was my top digital-only game. So there you go for the digital-only games for 2017. Now, if a game didn't make this list, either A, it just didn't quite make the cut in a very, very competitive year, or B, I haven't found the time to play it yet. Which does happen. Time is a finite resource. As always, I'm only one dude. I can only get to so much in any given year. But tomorrow, we get to retail releases, games in boxes, games that have discs or cartridges. So tune in for that. I'm Attack Slug. Thanks for watching. More videos every day. See you next time and next year right here on this channel. And I'm out.